Hello, welcome to another episode of the Horror Vision podcast. I'm Sean.
I am Anthony, the destroyer of worlds.
Did you know that Bruce Dickinson was a history major? I mean, I'm John.
Yes, yes.
And I'm still just Missy.
So it's been about 28 days since our last episode, or maybe 28 weeks. No, it's actually been 28 years. And we're going to talk spoiler free about Nia DaCosta's 28 years later, The Bone Temple. And we might go into spoilers. If we go into spoilers, I'll fire up a chainsaw, let everybody know. And I'll observe all proper safety precautions while using that chainsaw. Or I might lose a finger or two. John, okay, let's just set this up. I think everybody here, I think Missy, you were probably the most favorable to 28 years later, the first one.
Yeah, I think so.
These are written by Alex Garland. The first one's directed by Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle and Alex Garland produced them. Nia DaCosta is doing the second movie because Danny Boyle is directing the third and final of the trilogy. I thought that was coming out in like July, and I just Googled it, and it says like maybe 2027. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. We don't need to Back to the Future timeline, everything. But I think all of us had some issues with 28 years later, the first one. Mm-hmm. Not that it wasn't a good movie. I just rewatched it for the second time, first time at home the other day. And a lot of it, as I suspected, a lot of my issues kind of dissolved after I was used to kind of a lot of the visual stuff he was doing that I was not used to. But John, what do you think of Bone Temple?
I liked it more than the first one. The first one, I didn't dislike it as much as Anthony did, but I was fairly lukewarm on it. I thought there were ideas that were interesting, but they didn't take them to interesting places. This film has more interesting things to say. It feels smooth. I love how the infected are almost irrelevant. And it's very, very minimalist, in its approach. It's like it's so minimalist that I'm convinced that, half of the production design budget went into Samson's Wang Doodle. It was just like it's just everything about the world kind of felt very clean, and I just sort of felt like this is a story that is scary because it's about, chaos versus order and structure. I it felt like a metal opera at some point, but a very contained one. And yeah, as a Kubrick file, I, couldn't help but appreciate the, mixture of Clockwork Orange DNA and with the whole performative dystopia, mixed in with just some absurd Teletubby shit. That's all I'm going to say for now. We'll just let it open up later.
Missy, what do you think of Bone Temple?
I loved it. I was nervous going into it though, because as you said, I was probably most favorable to the first one. And I still love the first one.
Except for the last 5 minutes.
Yep. I hate the last 5 minutes of it. And I was really, really, really concerned that the Jimmy cult was going to just take over the entire story. And I think they use it real well. They do interesting things with it, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it has a good payoff. I had a lot of fun with this. At first, it took me a bit to warm up to it because it does focus so much on the Jimmy cult, but the characters are like, I love the Spike character, and the kid does a really good job, and it's balanced really well between what's going on with them and what's going on with Dr. Kelson and the Bone Temple. And I think this is like the performance of Ralph Fiennes' career. Like, I love this character. It's odd and wonderful, and he just breathes so much life into it. It's an odd movie, but I think it's a really cool watch. I think I like it better than the first one too, and I really like the first one. But this has a really different energy. And I like how it plays. I mean, the scariest thing in this movie are humans. The things that people think are monsters are not the problem.
Right. Well said. Anthony, what do you think of Bone Temple?
I really liked it, and now I'm apprehensive about going in and watching a third film now, hearing that the director's not going to be continuing on with the series. I think this film was incredibly violent and beautiful in nature, and I loved, you know, I love the character exploration that happens here between certain characters. We'll get into that in a little while. It's just stunning. I came out of this movie this afternoon just with an entire crowd of people. Just everybody was jaw dropped. I couldn't believe
Good.
what I just watched. And like I said, after the last film, I really had zero hope for this series whatsoever, and ended up coming out with a really, really enjoyable performance. Fiennes is fantastic. He's been a favorite of mine for forever. Some of my favorite roles he's ever done is like, the one he played the lead in Spider from Cronenberg. He's done, In Bruges, his character in Bruges, just all this stuff. The guy's incredible,
He
and
eats a painting in Red
right.
Dragon.
And when you think he can't like do anything more, or that you've kind of seen it all from him, what does he do? He ups the ante again, and he was just stellar in this film. Absolutely incredible. My God, I had such a wonderful time during this flick. It was fantastic. But now I'm scared of what's going to happen with the third film. Um, Early prediction from me, it's going to be the high point in the trilogy. But just an outstanding movie all around. Incredible. Loved it.
Nice. It makes me really happy to hear that we're kind of all on the same wavelength. Because man, I rewatched 28 Years Later on Netflix. I don't know, 2 days before I saw this, and innovation is not always palatable because it just isn't, right? So I saw that movie, and I didn't understand what exactly was bothering me. Anthony, you definitely in our review, which I'll link here, like you definitely laid out some things, but really it was a lot of the visual stuff. And the comparison I made, I think when we did our episode, I never saw the Hobbit movies. I'm not interested, but I know they played them at a different frame rate, and so that physically bothered people. And I thought maybe after reading the articles about them using those, like, what is it, like 16 or 20 iPhones and to do those
On the rig.
shots and stuff like that, like maybe there was a visual thing that was disrupting, because I was like, well, I don't feel like it's a story so much. It's just, I don't know. And Danny Boyle's an innovator, and I think he focused too much on it. It's a beautiful movie. After that first viewing, like watching it at home the other night, I was like, oh my God. Still nowhere near as good as this. But I think he focused a lot on innovation, where here it's all character and really the development of the world, right? Because we will get into spoilers later, but Ralph Fiennes and Samson, that's like huge.
Speaking of, I mean, really huge, like
Really?
humongous, phenomenally huge,
Yeah.
gargantuan.
Yeah, like I don't know, him and the guy in Found could probably go, like, they could reshoot that scene in Requiem for a Dream. Never mind. Off topic. Anyway, but man, this felt to me like the way 28 Days Later, the original, felt, and not just because. I mean, it's no spoiler, right? Cillian Murphy comes back he's not really in the movie. I mean, I don't even think that's a spoiler. I don't think anybody expects to like go in, have the credits roll, and see Cillian Murphy pop up, and be like, "Oh, I'm back." Um,
It was the least interesting thing about the film anyway.
well, but also like it was, but it was a good. It really isn't this movie. It's the segue into the next one, right? So
Hmm.
it is the least interesting, but it's interesting in that, like, okay, now we know where we're going. And I mean, I had suspected that all along. So again, like, I don't feel like that's a spoiler, but man, I loved everything about it. I thought the direction, um, it was so clean and crisp, and it knew exactly what it needed to do. And that, not to belie the fact that it's gory and fucked up and every fucking horror movie that comes out for the rest of the year has to battle this one. Everyone. And John, just please, because I loved your text so much, what did you text me in response to that the other day?
I gave a quote, hold my beer, Robert Eggers' werewolf.
Yep. So that, I mean, who knows? I'm not saying it's going to be the best, but right, like I've not had a movie in January that I felt that strongly about in a long fucking time. So, yeah, if anybody out there within the sound of our voices felt the same way about 28 years later, please roll the dice, go see this. It's a different movie. It's a better movie. It's probably going to be more in line. It's not to take anything away from Danny Boyle's movie. It was a great movie, but this is, man, oh my God, this is so good. It's so fucking good.
She's such a fantastic director. I mean,
Yeah.
I look, I wasn't a huge fan of the Candyman remake, but I appreciated the approach, and like, the solid tight directing was clear. This is just phenomenal. Again, it's like it's like I don't want to like harp on the minimalism here, but it's just sort of like almost sort of like the way she handles the actors in just these sort of small set pieces, like the farm and the
Yeah.
barn scene. Are we? I'm treading carefully because we're not into spoiler territory
Right,
yet.
right. You're fine.
But the Bone Temple in general, and just and directing Ray Fiennes, and yeah, what I agree is like, I don't know if I'd call it his best performances, but it's up there alongside Amon Goth and Count El Mashi and Francis Dollarhide.
I did not realize Jack O'Connell, who plays the lead Jimmy, Sir Lord Jimmy,
Hmm.
was in Sinners. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah.
He was?
Yeah. Guys, before we go spoilers, Nia DeCall, I know Anthony, you're probably the biggest her Candyman fan here, but I loved it, and I think Missy loved it too. Surprised the hell out of me, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and considering that year was so light for me, we just had the baby, so I didn't really have a lot of like I wasn't out at theaters too much, and actually I don't even think we made it out because of shutdown.
Yeah, it was COVID
So, yeah,
time.
everything was locked down. So yeah, I remember having a chance to sit down and watch that, one of those brief times where we got the baby to sleep. And I was just blown away by her direction, and cinematography was fantastic on that film. All the different elements, like the animated portion in the beginning of the film, all that stuff was just incredibly sewn together. So I had really high hopes going into this one, knowing what I'd already loved about what she does in the past. So again, the sour note being that she's not returning for the third film. However, this is just a fucking work of art in my opinion, and definitely, a fine stamp on the horror community and what she can do for it, and how well she can execute such skills. Like she's just fantastic. I loved everything she did about this film. So yeah, I'm very happy with my viewing experience. The audience applauded at the end of the film.
Nice.
Yeah, we got, there were actually folks that, applauded. It was fantastic. And what an experience too. To actually see a film that was genuinely scary at times, much akin to the first film where, you got, I mean, granted there are a few jumps here and there, but this one actually, because I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, it was really easy to get me. And I had a great time with that. I don't get that often. And it's something we talked about in a recent episode about being scared versus being unnerved.
Yeah.
And this actually was scary to me at times. So, yeah, the unnerving is in there too, and we'll get there. But
Hmm.
yeah, goddamn, what a great cinematic experience. What an awesome time at the theater. And I implore our listeners to go out and do the same thing. It's, got Dolby screenings and XLs and all the other doodads, what have you. It's definitely worth your time. And again, if you weren't a big fan of the last film, much like myself, this one actually made me believe in the series again. So I'm happy that I went to go watch this. I'm glad everybody here is pretty much on the same page as well.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you went in with a very obvious cognitive dissonance because you talked about your like reservations about coming out of the first movie, but also your love of Candyman and your kind of hope of what she might do with it. And so I really like that you went in like that and you got, the
Oh,
better
the expectation was met. The expectation was met. Definitely.
that's very cool. That's very, very cool.
What 28 years later, I felt was a film that sprinted, just like very much like 28 Days Later sprinted. Bone Temple didn't sprint; it strutted.
Nice. Well
It,
said.
yeah, this film,
Yeah.
I just love how comfortable in its own skin, no pun intended, this film felt.
Well, and she didn't try to make a Danny Boyle movie. She played in his world, but she did it her way.
Yep.
So it still has, and whether, I mean, I liked both movies. They have really different vibes.
But they go together well.
Yes, they go together very well, but they focus on different things. But I think it's a great movie, and it's worth seeing it at a theater. Like this is a theater movie.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And we'll get into that in just a second because, guys, shall we go to spoiler country?
I believe so.
Let's
Yeah.
fire that shit up. Okay. When you hear the chainsaw, if you've not seen it, turn us off. I just got one word, man.
Mm.
Well, two words. Iron Maiden.
Yep.
Hells yes.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck.
Let's cut to the chase. Why belabor that point?
And not just that it was Iron Maiden, but the whole idea.
The whole
so
thing.
first of all, here's what I love about the Jimmy cult. Nobody else in history would ever write a post-apocalyptic movie and have a satanic cult in it that dresses in tracksuits and blonde mullet wigs with bling. It would never fucking happen. It's the most unique thing I've seen in forever. And it took quite some time, even as Sir Lord Jimmy's explaining his love of the Dark Lord and it's his father and all this shit. I'm like, wait, they're saying that? Like, it still couldn't click because they're visually so dissonant from that idea.
He's wearing a tiara, like what girls wear at the prom.
Yes, he talk about struts. Like, there's a point where he puts it on and like totally make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, through the whole movie, he's wearing like a prom tiara.
Oh my god. But then the idea that like Ralph Fiennes, just man, the music in this, I'm a big Kid A fan, and so you throw everything in its right place in your movie. Multiple movies have done it. I've never seen it used poorly, and this was fucking exceptional. Just he's like looking through the records, like got to turn this shit up to 11, right? Pulls out Iron Maiden. I was like, oh my god. Let's talk spoilers. Anthony, give me some spoiler goodness.
I mean, right off the bat, when you see Spike being initiated into the, as a finger, it you see the peril he's in immediately, and he's a younger kid, so he's dwarfed by the size of the people that are challenging him to a
Yes.
fight to the death.
Yes.
It's just insanity, and it's like, wait a minute, how did he end up in this fucking situation? And how he gets out of it's even crazier. I mean, when you see
Yeah.
him stab the dude in the leg, and I was like, I know what's gonna happen next.
Oh, yeah.
He nicked that fucking femoral artery. He hit it. I
Yep.
know it.
Right.
And as soon as he hit that, as soon as he pulled it out, it just started spraying everywhere. I'm like,
Everywhere.
oh fuck! And that's another thing too. I've never seen that in a film before. We've seen lots of arterial spray from
Yeah.
throat rips and cuts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I have never seen that before, and I have never seen it made horrifying before. Like, it was just a really interesting kill that happened. And it's right in the middle. It's in the beginning of the fucking movie. So again, this is one of those ones that just kind of grabs you by the balls immediately. Fucking hell. I mean, and this is way before Iron Maiden, even though I
Yes.
love that Iron Maiden scene. I like the quasi humanization of the lead Jimmy character of the Dark Lord Jimmy. I
Sir
like
Dark
how
Lord.
Sir Dark Lord. I love him coming to finds and finding somewhat of a confidant. And it's interesting, but then you see when he flips that on his head when he threatens him because he realizes he's fucked if he doesn't get his story straight. And yeah, goddamn, those performances are just outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you say about what Fiennes had done? Not only just on an acting stage, but physically, what he does with that character is beyond anything I've ever seen. Maybe his Harry Potter character, but not that. I'm just kidding. But no, fucking hell, I could go on and on about this flick. There's a lot to like here, but that opening scene just was jarring as fuck.
Yeah.
And as it goes on, man, you just got this beautiful character development, and not really amongst the Jimmies. They all kind of are just your general, thug
Well,
bad
except for
guys.
Kelly.
Right. Um, which I have a continuity thing with her later on, and we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess so. I guess it's just Kelly and really the lead Jimmy and Spike, but these people are horrible. They're monsters, and they do it under the guise of religion. And it's not necessarily something they truly believe in. It's all driven by fear.
Well, yeah, they found somebody to tell them what to do in the apocalypse, right? Like, it's something to believe in.
Right. Yeah, it's something to believe in, and that's what organized religion has always been, is a tool to
Yep.
keep
Yep.
people in fear and in line, and it comes through in spades in this film. And yeah, I don't like organized religion, and I like that the farce is exposed,
Yeah.
and what
Yeah.
ends up happening with it, even if it's just theatrics. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Missy, spoiler me.
Well, and I like how all the Jimmy stuff is balanced out by what's going on with Dr. Kelson. So you've got all this extreme ultra violence and humans doing horrible things to each other with the Jimmies. And then you've got Dr. Kelson forming a very strange and thoughtful relationship with the alpha zombie, Samson. And like, the conversations he has with the zombie are just thought-provoking and beautiful, and I love those scenes. And the old Nick scene is still my favorite. But
Yeah.
I also read that making the bone temple, they took casts of skulls and bones and things, and it uses 5,500 skulls and over 150,000 bones that were individually cast and attached to these columns
Holy shit.
to build it.
Yeah, they're like, if we're gonna build this fucker, let's get at least 3 films worth out of it.
Well, and also, like, anybody else would have just done a couple of them and then CG'd them. right?
Right.
Repeated them.
Yeah, they built it. But these two movies were filmed back to back. Different directors, but still filmed back to back.
But what a beautiful set piece. Like we've
Yeah,
seen ossuaries in other films before, but this is just beyond.
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beyond.
And
Yes.
the reasoning behind it is beautiful in itself. And we talked about that
Yeah.
during the last film. Or, the last episode when we covered
Hmm.
the last movie. But yeah, wow. Incredible. And then just to see it lit up at night
Yep.
and
Yeah.
the fire ring and that whole final scene there is just incredible. But I gotta admit, when they walked in and you see that big upside down cross, I was like, yeah, like
And all the lanterns.
Oh, dude.
this is gonna be something that is completely unfuckwithable coming up this year as far as other films go. um
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely like yeah, I think this is pushed to like number one
I mean,
easily.
even if there's a better movie, will there be a better set piece? Doubt
I
it.
don't think so. I
I mean,
doubt
that
it.
would really be, dude. This, I mean, when he lights the fucking circle and they do the
Hmm.
overhead,
Yeah,
oh my god, I was like, yeah, I was so fucking happy.
I would hope that in the future Fines gets some kind of nod for this, be it any in any kind of award ceremony.
Chainsaw Awards, all he can hope for. There's no Academy's gonna ever
But I
fucking
mean,
even bother to.
we've seen people like Tony Collette get snubbed in the past. So it's just one of those things where even if no matter how much you class up something, um, the mainstream will always kind of push back against it and say that there's
Yeah,
something wrong, and it's unfortunate. And I really hope it would change, but I guess all I can do is hope.
John.
You know what? I'll just go from front to back here. That the pool scene with probably one of the best artery slashes since Albert Brooks and Drive.
Oh,
It,
good call.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that there's no pain. It's over. It's over. It's this and I would give a film recommendation, by the way, because I kind of there's it's a little bit obscure, but I kind of know that what she's channeling here. It's a Scottish film called Sweet 16, which is about a young Ned who gets inducted into a hooligan gang in Glasgow.
Ooh,
And
Oh.
this is such a good film directed by an amazing British director named Ken Loach. Um, this film, no doubt Danny Boyle and Alex Garland would have been fans of that film. And I, and just sort of the visuals of that kind of reminded me a little bit of stuff from Sweet 16, and a lot of sort of low offbeat 90s and early 2000s British films. Um, the bone just the just how touching
yeah.
the relationship between Kelson and
Samson.
Samson.
Samson was. I mean, because for a while you're just kind of wondering like, is this something that's just really general, like just really genuine that's happening right here, or did it, are we just kind of like kidding ourselves here? And Kelson just kind of got him hooked on opiates, and that's what's
Right.
he's just an addict now who's just coming back. And then as soon as he says moon, I'm just like, okay, all right, this isn't really just setting up the main themes of the film. It's like if this is going to be a trilogy, I think a lot of this is going to pay off in the third film. And if it doesn't, then it's kind of like, well, that was a fucking waste. But the idea of like, it's like what is the infection? Can the virus be cured? And it's just sort of all about this moment, these moments between Kelson and Sampson, just counterbalanced with the conversation that he has with Sir Lord Jimmy, about like what kind of memories, do you have before this all happened?
Right.
What are your pandemic infection memories do you have? And The only thing we kind of get that is like a possible memory from Samson about how he might have been infected.
Yep.
But
Hmm.
I love it how they just like everyone else is just kind of keeping their cards close to their chests. It's like, it's like I don't really remember the way the world was. I just remember people and some sensations.
Yeah, I think I mean, again, Iron Maiden, but and I love the Jimmies, but the development of the relationship with Samson and the eventual evolution of that character, I just thought was so well done and could have been absolute shit, right?
Hmm.
I mean,
It was easy for that to have been cheesy.
easy, and it is so like theatrical and just dramatic and poignant and sweet and nuanced. Moon, like, oh my god, like just that single word, like, stop, you catch your breath, you're like, oh.
I love when he becomes the proverbial cat bringing a dead mouse to his master, and he's just
Yeah.
got this big like stag head, like completely
Yeah,
ripped out, like spine dangling and stuff. Like, hey, look what I brought you for your bone temple.
And then he puts it at the top.
He
yeah,
does. He
yeah.
uses it as decoration. It's fantastic.
and,
No, I
and
was worried for a moment that this was going to be just a bit kind of like in the Night Eats the World, where the main character just has that zombie locked up.
The one in the
yeah,
elevator.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Just uses him as just somebody to talk to so he doesn't go insane. And maybe he is doing that on top of all the other good intentions as well.
Hmm.
But I'm glad that it evolved past that.
yes,
Do,
agreed.
do we remember Mela from the first film? Jim, meet Mela. Mela, meet Jim. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
the guy
yeah,
they got chained up in the
yeah,
in the garden. Yeah. It's like this is almost kind of like an answer to the whole Mela story.
yeah. Mela's
So that's
Bub
just
from
in
Dawn of the
bookend.
Dead or Day of the Dead, right? Like very
Yeah.
similar. And then this is that evolution that Bub never really gets to have. He kind of has, but things go, pear shaped. Um, it's it. I don't. It just really opens the next movie up, and like you said, John, like it will pay off. I mean, they didn't do that for nothing. I hope. I mean, maybe that's just a one-off. I don't expect them to like fix everything. That would be a little bit ridiculous if at the end they're all like singing "Que Sera Sera" and everything's fine. Um,
But because I love that this film is not tone deaf about the era that we're living
yeah.
in
Oh,
and
not at all.
the national pressure points that this is going on because this film is not about hope. This film is about endurance.
Yes.
Yep.
It's like and so many other things just get echoed. They don't even bear repeating here, especially when you have Jimmy saying, "Oh, by the way, if you don't impersonate Satan and make me look good in front of my people, I'm going to kill you."
Right. Right. Ah,
Give me your Nobel Peace Prize now.
I love this so much. I cannot wait to see. I might go tomorrow to see it again. Yeah, I implore. Well, I mean, hopefully anybody that hasn't seen it already turned this off. So, because we are in spoiler country, but I'm so happy because again, even though I've kind of come around on the first one, it still feels, even liking it, it still feels like this is the next. I don't know. There's a kind of a big deal, and I'm looking at these as similar to Lynch's The Return for Twin Peaks or Nicholas Winding Refn's Too Old to Die Young, where is this just one like 9 hour movie, basically, or 8 hour movie? If that's the case, it's not, but it kind of is. Like, and I had said this, I think, about the first one. I don't want to judge the first one completely till I see the second one. And I've people are making movies when you make trilogies that way these days. That's kind of how you got to approach it because maybe this is just setting up something else or whatever. I will say, rewatching that first one, there's some just visual stuff that's amazing.
Hmm.
And both these kind of end up treating the infected more like zombies than the original movie did, or even 28 weeks later did. But I don't know. I mean, you had to kind of go somewhere with the evolution of these things, and I think that's one of the things. And I think we talked about with the first movie is 28 years later, things have slowed down, right? So they're not all
Hmm.
just berserk running constantly, which we got way more of in this movie, which was interesting, right?
Right, right.
Um,
They did away with the whole, like sluggish,
yes, yes.
ones that which were cool in the first movie, but yeah, they did away with all that stuff.
It was okay,
The
but
balloon guy. Yeah,
yeah, and like
I'm
them
glad we didn't
eating the
have balloon
worms
guy
and stuff like
again.
that. Like,
Hmm.
but I really liked having these Adidas Satan worshippers as the bad guys because, like, I mean, it's just like they do terrible, like unbelievable shit, and it's almost like Jimmy's like making it up Sir Lord Jimmy's making up as he goes along. Like remove the shirt. You're just like, oh, is that gonna? Oh yeah, that's exactly what that is. Uh,
The fact that
final.
he decided to model his gang persona, it's like, he's like looking for like, what are some like pre-pandemic cultural references I could reach for? Well, you know, pedophile who ran a kid's DIY show.
Yep. That's what's the guy's name again? You lived there at that time.
Yeah, Jimmy Savile. Yeah, no,
That's
that was
it.
like I remember when I was living there when he got arrested.
Gross. And it was like a television personality that like wasn't it something like 5,000 cases against him or something like
Yeah,
astronomical.
and we're gonna mix that with the Teletubbies, a show that everyone thinks is annoying, nobody likes, and we're just gonna have like these be our cultural touchstones
Yeah.
that I'm gonna use to sort of cultivate this cult of personality around me. Whereas like the first film, I guess to its credit, as like a point of contrast, you had these Arthurian legends that were kind of like the driving force behind the characters. We're going back to,
Right.
you know, this country's, like old history, even to the point where they had like the Sycamore Gap in there from the Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah. Oh man. And also I think it's a commentary on culture in post millennial culture where it's like yeah, it's been a lot of shit. And so what washes up on the shore of the apocalypse is a, a bunch of shit, right? It's like not anything good. It's like the cultural touchstones they have to look back on and appropriate are like garbage. And I think that's pretty fitting for the post millennial world. Not that there's not a lot of good stuff, but I don't know, Teletubbies and pedophiles. There you go. And which probably go hand in hand, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
Uh
I can't comment on that. I have no fucking clue.
I don't know. I don't
Jesus.
know. Um,
And violence in this movie, I love how it's all from the whole idea of infection just right on up to Jimmy's crowd. Violence is it's curated. It's by
yeah.
design. There's nothing here that feels like a freak incident.
No, no, and it's like how do you survive in a violent apocalypse? You become as violent as you possibly can, which is not an endorsement. I don't think that is the way. And in fact, I think the end of this movie where Cillian Murphy and his daughter show up in the same like I love when they're doing that skimming the water shot because I was like, oh, it's the same fucking shot as the first movie, right? You come up on that farmhouse, they've been there the whole time, and it's like that's the answer, right? That's the answer. You don't survive the violent apocalypse just perpetuating violence. You go the other way. And I think that's what we're hopefully going to see in this because obviously they've survived for 28 where he survived for 28 years. I don't know. I forget the woman in 28 days later who he
Celine.
obviously, yeah. We don't see her, so we don't know. But oh man,
So that continuity error
Oh,
They're
yes,
running through the
please.
field. They're running through the field, and she has the fucking Jimmy wig on.
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, why does she have the wig on if they already,
Yeah,
denounced
she
her?
Oh,
threw it away.
after we saw her take it off, I
Yeah, I'm
didn't
like,
catch
wait a
that.
minute. Yeah. I was like, why does she have the fucking Jimmy wig on?
I didn't catch that. Good catch.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm into stupid stuff. I'm just kidding.
Final thoughts.
Oof.
The number of the beast.
Is a human number.
Yeah, that if there was an Iron Maiden lyric, I think that would go with this film, like just sort of like a generic Iron Maiden lyric or generic metal lyric in general. It would be like, "From the bones of the old world, a new order marches in time."
Oh, I mean, I think Dickinson is retiring because I think he's got like throat or cancer or some shit. Although I feel like I heard that a long time ago and he's still playing. But Iron Maiden, John's available. So just throw. And John, you're a history professor,
Yeah,
so
your
there you go.
time will come.
Missy, final thoughts?
Check it out in the theater. It's got some genuinely unnerving stuff, but it's also just a really good time.
Agreed. Anthony,
Memento Mori.
what more can you say?
Yeah.
That's 28 years later, Bone Temple. This is the Horror Vision. I'm Sean.
I'm Anthony, the fat thing on the ground eating worms, covered in slime and muck.
I'm John.
I'm Missy.
When incoming high school senior Lisa McCready's boyfriend and classmates are brutally murdered at a party in the woods, the quiet suburban community of Sundown Hills transforms into a paranoid nightmare. Betrayal, corruption, and dark family secrets push Lisa dead center into a burgeoning class war where rival millionaires plot to steal the town's future between reliance on big oil and the incoming age of legalized weed, electric cars, and social conscience. As she struggles for answers, the killings continue, and Lisa finds the world she knew is little more than a lie to placate the masses and keep a satanic 1% in power. From the demented mind of Sean C. Baker, author of Murder Virus, A Collection of Desires, and Volume 4, comes Black Gloves and Broken Hearts, Teenage Giallo Mystery.